Another example of goods are the merit goods. As we've been looking at the others, some goods are normal, others are final, others are perishable, but we also have what we call merit goods. And these are goods whose consumption is regarded intrinsically desirable, and they are meant to improve the quality of life of the people. They are intrinsically desirable, and they are meant to improve the quality of life of the people. Goods whose consumption is regarded intrinsically useful and supposed to benefit all people. Their value or their provision is intrinsically useful, and they are meant to improve. It's not just benefit, you can also put there, improve the people's welfare. You can have examples like medical care, education, okay, there are informal services. You can also have maybe safe water and many others. So we look at these goods as goods of merit, or they are merit goods. They add value to a person. That's what when we talk of being intrinsically useful, we find that there is an inner gain in a person. You become a more useful person. The moment you are educated, you become a better person. And you can hear of lawyers calling themselves the land friends. They feel happy, they have a status of their own. So if we have such goods, we find that you as an individual or society at large, you are valuable people, and your standard of living is at a higher level. So medical care, you are sick, and there and then you are given medical attention and you get better. Definitely your quality of life increases. If you are educated, you become an educated person who is well versed with a lot of knowledge, and that knowledge you have makes you to be a better quality person. The safe water we take, or usually we say that water is life, and we find that it has to be safe. So that water also improves on the quality of life of the people. And we find that if a good is not a merit one, then it can also be a demerit good. Demerit good. So these are goods which inflict harm to the users and society. And they include you can put there drugs like marijuana, then alcohol, So such goods, instead of improving on your quality of life as an individual or even society, they inflict damage or danger or harm to the consumer and sometimes the entire society. And we have been seeing that some people who are cigarette smokers, they give more harm to people who are surrounding them than themselves. So even cigarettes are not goods of merit, they are not normal goods. Usually they are taken by those people who are addicted and maybe they feel that they cannot do without them. So usually these goods bring about an addiction to the consumer, whereby they feel that they cannot be okay on normal people if they don't use the drugs like marijuana, then alcohol, and then the cigarettes, and you find that the moment they continue taking them in large numbers, their health status is going to be negatively affected. So those goods are also there and we need to know them in our economics. Then we have what we call tangible goods. Tangible goods. Tangible goods. So these are goods which can be touched and felt. So these are simple to understand. Goods which can be touched, seen, and felt, e.g. a pen, a book, food, etc. So these goods or this kind of goods, just to mention a few, you can touch them, you can touch a pen, you can feel it, and you can see it. So such goods also need to be clearly explained to the learners so that when you come to distinguish one from the other, you can know where such a category of product falls. Is it tangible? Can I touch it? Can I see it? Can I feel it? Then you can even know how is it produced or how is it provided to society. Is this provision going to be easy or is it going to be difficult to access such a commodity because I cannot see it, I cannot feel it, I cannot touch it. But the moment you know that it can be seen, it can be touched, and it can be felt, then its provision or supply can actually be relatively easier. So if a good is not tangible, so then it can be intangible. They always come in pairs. If it is not a merit good, then it is a demerit. If it is not a tangible good, then it is intangible. If it's not a normal good, then it is abnormal. So usually we look at them in pairs. Intangible. Intangible goods. So goods which cannot be seen, which cannot be seen, felt, or touched. And they are commonly services. So when we talk of intangible goods or intangible products, in most cases we refer to the services. So these are goods which are not easy to be felt and are in form of services, where again we have education, entertainment, medication, etc. So we cannot be able to see them or feel them. Okay, you may get an injection, but the person giving you that service medication itself, the good you get, or the entertainment, you can see the instruments. Education, you can see the classroom and the school, but that is not the education you're talking about. No, we are referring to the service itself, which is offered to you, and you become happy, you get utility out of it, you get some kind of contentment, and there it is an intangible good. You cannot be able to see it, you cannot feel it, but we usually have them in society, and they are indispensable, they are inseparable, and we cannot say that we can only consume the tangible goods and do without the intangible. We also have necessity goods. Necessity goods. Necessity goods. So these are goods which are essential in people's lives and people cannot do without them. Goods which are essential in people's lives, and they cannot do without them. They cannot do without them. Examples: salt, water. You find that salt may look like something small, but we need it in our life. Soap and many others, just to mention a few. So these goods have their specific or common name, and they are necessity goods. They are necessary, they are essential in people's life, and we cannot do without them. And for that matter, as you will see in demand, you find that these commodities operate in a certain trend with regard to the consumer's income. When a consumer's income increases or remains the same, you find that usually we don't increase the consumption of these commodities. When you get rich, it doesn't mean that you double the amount of salt you use. So whether you are rich or poor, you need to have the salt, you need the soap, you need the water, and they are not like luxuries which are consumed by the rich only or affordable to the rich people only. No. So a necessity is essential to each and everybody, and there is no way we can do without it. Then after looking at the necessity, we also have what we call economic agents. Economic agents. Remember that all these are still economic concepts that we need to learn, and they will be guiding us in our study as we proceed. Economic agents. These are decision-making units in an economy, and they are mainly three. So when we talk of economic agents, we refer to decision-making agents in an economy, and they are mainly three. So in an economy, we have seen that we need to have agents that make decisions for us. Decisions regarding what to consume, what to produce, when to produce, where to produce from, for whom to produce. So these are the agents we are looking at, and these decisions are made by mainly three categories of people. And the very first one is the households. Households. Then the second one are the farms. And then thirdly, we have the government. Government or the state or central authority. So these are the agents which commonly make decisions, economic decisions for us. So what to produce, what to consume. We have the households, we have the farms, and the government or state or the central authority. So let's look at each one of them individually and see how they go about the allocation of resources and the making of decisions. A household is defined as people living together under one roof, and usually they consume goods and services and they own the factors of production. So these are people living together under one roof, and they decide what to consume, decide on what to consume, and they are the owners. They are the owners of factors of production. So we find that we are looking at our economy, and in this economy decisions have to be made, but usually we begin with the micro. That's why we try to demarcate our economics into two categories. We look at it from the micro perspective and then at the macro perspective. So when you come to the household is the minutest, the smallest unit in the economy or production process, and it has individuals, which individuals now make a home or make a household. So these are people living together under one roof, and they decide on what to consume. We are looking them from the consumption side. For them, they are mainly interested in consuming, and we find that they are the ones who possess the factors of production. They are the ones who provide the labor. If you are a producer and you want laborers, definitely they are going to be coming from the household. They are the owners of land, they are the owners of capital. So many of the factors of production will flow to the producer, but they have to be coming from the household sector, which is owning them. Then we have seen that next we have the farms. And these are not on the consumption side only, but these are the production agents. Who hire or which hire the factors of production from the households, and produce goods and services for the economy. So these are the firms. They are production agents which hire factors of production. They hire the factors of production from where? From the household sector. We have seen that the household sector owns the factors of production. So if these are now going to produce goods and services which are to be consumed by the households, then they hire these factors of production, turn them or convert them into final goods and services, or in whatever form the consumers may want them or the households may want them, and definitely the goods and services benefit the entire economy. So a firm, we can also say the unit that employs factors of production to come up with goods and services to sell to the households, other firms, and the economy. So in the economy, we have the household sector, we have the firms themselves, and then we have the government. So they don't produce only for the household, but even other firms. That's why we are able to define the different categories of product. Some goods are intermediate. They have to be produced and then go to another stage of production. Another stage buys them to continue the production process, like the steel bars. They are manufactured, but that is not the end. You use them in the construction industry. So that is where even other firms use the products that have been produced by others, and they continue in the production process. And the government itself can also use or make use of these products which are made by the firm in its kind of production activities. Then we have the central government as another agent. Central government or the state. This is also an economic agent, and it answers various questions. It controls the allocation, ownership, and distribution of resources and goods and services, and it includes organizations belonging to the government. So this is made up of organizations owned by the government, and they have the legal authority to make decisions for the entire economy. So those are what we call the central government or the state. It is not, let's say, a body which you can see there, no, but it is made up of people who are well selected by the responsible people, and they're given the legal authority, so nobody can question their authenticity. They are legally set up, and they are entitled to making decisions on behalf of each and everybody, and they have the power to control the political part of the economy. They can control farms in the production process and even the households. So they are legally recognized, and you find that whether you are in the household, whether you are a farm, and even in the political sphere, they can always have access to you, advise you accordingly, and regulate your activities and anything of the nature. And they include, we have examples like police, the army, and maybe the central bank, which is the bank for the government, like Bank of Uganda in our country is our central bank, So these are organizations owned by the government, and they have the legal authority to make decisions for the entire economy. So these are our economic agents, where we said that these are units which are established for the purpose of making decisions, or they are decision-making agents in an economy, and we cannot question all of them. By virtue of your birth, you belong to a certain household, and you have your own needs. I've seen that the needs are many, and resources to fulfill them are not limited. Then you have to decide on what to produce and what to consume, and you find that the farms are the ones to answer that question of what to produce. But for you, you have to answer, what am I to consume, depending on your income and depending on your tastes and preferences. So the central government is always there to guide the actions of both the household and the farms, regulate their behavior, and see that there is sanity and stability in the entire country or the entire economy. So that brings us to the end of the various types of goods which we need to study at our level, and we can have some sample questions, just a few. And usually questions on types of goods appear in section A. It is rare or not, or even not there, to find a question on these goods in section B, unless if it is a sub question. So can have like distinguish between an economic good and a free good. And the examiner puts in the brackets 2 marks. So this one simply requires you to give the definition of the two concepts. One is the economic good, the other is the free good. We distinguish them using their respective definitions, but we have to use the comparative word when we are defining. As much as an economic good is this one, a free good is the other. So what you have to use is an economic good is such and such, whereas. So you use the word whereas. You can also use the word yet. So these are the ones which combine the definitions. You define an economic good, and after defining it, you say whereas a free good is the other one. An economic good is a good which is paid for, and it has a monetary value, has an exchange value, and is relatively scarce. Yet a free good is available in actual abundance and is enjoyed at zero price. So these comparative words are very important when you are distinguishing one from the other. And as we have seen so many types of economic goods, you can distinguish them, but usually you use the definitions. Maybe a normal good, distinguish between a normal good and a necessity. Necessity good. Again, you are working for 2 marks. If you correctly and rightly define your concepts, then you'll be able to score your 2 marks for each one. But if the distinguishing word is not there, then you have not distinguished. That's why whereas and yet are very important after each and every definition, so that you are trying to show the examiner that this is how one is different from the other. Though this one is this, yet the other is like that. You shall be coming across many more questions, but at least we can find out that for the economic concepts, usually you are supposed to define and give examples accordingly.